Hello, Stratters. Nick here, known as the Exalted One on Magic the Gathering Online. This week we are doing a little bit of modern, but not traditional modern, Modern Cube. Uh, okay, so our pack is loaded for us. So this is Modern Cube, which is a little bit lower in power level than, Legacy Cube and even more so Vintage Cube. And I haven't really played much of it, so I don't know what to expect. Typically speaking in cubes, all the cards are kind of good, so it's a good idea to prioritize ramp and fixing so that you're able to ramp into the larger, more powerful cards sooner and cast them a little bit sooner, or splash colors so that you're able to get powerful effects from a couple different colors. This pack is a little bit unimpressive to me. Not sure exactly what to take. I'm going to take maybe this Nissa. Maybe. This is a hard one. I'm going to take the Council, Sky Sovereign Council Flagship, just because it's a colorless card and I can stay a little bit open. That pack didn't have anything that really screamed out to me, this is the card I should draft. The only kind of consideration here is that with the crew cost, we're going to have to be playing creatures in our deck. If we even stick with this card, I find in Cube you're not married to your first pick as much as you would be in a typical draft format. Uh, Usually your high pick cards in a normal draft format are really powerful, rares and bomb uncommons, and you want to try to play those if you can. It's a little bit less stark in terms of power level with cubes, so you can get away without picking those. As far as what I see in here, maybe I wonder if the combo with Devoted Druid's in here or not. I'm not sure. Maybe I want to play safe and just take another card that really doesn't lock me into a color. Okay, so powerful cards. Elspeth is very powerful. Hornet Queen is very powerful. None of these lands, since I don't really have a color, are very good. Harmonize is a nice card, although green pairs really well with blue in this cube, so typically you'd want to take a blue card draw spell. Kind of like this Elspeth. This is a fairly powerful card. Goes good in a mid-range deck or a control deck. So for mid-range you could still play the Sky Sovereign, and for more control-ish we could maybe ditch the Sky Sovereign and just play the Elspeth. So I'm going to take Elspeth here. Also, Planeswalkers are more or less the most powerful card type, so it's nice to pick up Planeswalkers whenever possible. Alright, so here could I guess move in more on the vehicles. Not really seeing, there's no white cards in the pack to kind of complement this Elspeth, except for if I want to go white-red and get this Johnny Vengeant. It's hard to take another vehicle when I already don't have any creatures to crew with. Granted, this is really early on and I could get some creatures. This Chandra's not very good. Chasm Skulker is a fine card, gets better if you have card draw in your deck. Again, not a land that fixes for a color that we know we're playing. Could take Cyclonic Rift. I'm gonna take this Ajani, and maybe we end up being some sort of like Boros or Jeskai type of deck. So Wrath of God, that's a really powerful card, and there aren't a ton of sweepers in this format if I recall correctly, so it might be nice to get that. As far as creatures, Kythian's really low curve and maybe not what I want to be playing. Doesn't crew Sky Sovereign on its own. Yeah, maybe take this Wrath of God and try to move into a more control-ish deck. take Electrolyze and try to be more of like a Jeskai control deck. Archangel would be nice in a more mid-rangey deck. Just need to kind of figure out what we are at this point. There's quite a few blue cards left in the pack, so maybe blue's a little open. I do like Electrolyze as a card, and that would make Jeskai control a kind of nice sounding option. I don't think there are actually a lot of enablers for Drakehaven, from what I've seen. Again, I haven't actually drafted this myself, but I've watched some different streamers or other people that make videos, and so I have a little bit of an idea, but not an exact idea. So Bonfire would probably be, again, if I wanted to stay in like a Jeskai control sort of way, that would probably be the way to go. SRAM's Expertise is nice if I want to maybe be more, again, like a Boros style of deck. I guess I already have one sweeper, so it's an argument for multiple sweepers, or I really like Bonfire. I'm going to take Bonfire. So in this way I just have multiple sweepers and I'm a little bit more consistent in that sense. Here, don't really have the ramp for Ulamog, can't really make use of this. I guess it's possible we end up moving in more of a Siege Gang commander type of direction. Could take Through the Breach, try to pick up, not this Eldrazi, but one with Annihilator. Don't have creatures to return. I think Siege Gang's probably just kind of the best pick for something that might actually make our deck. Here, Spell Queller would be a nice tempo type of card. Irrigated Farmland looks like it could be an uncolored duel for us. Also just cycles, so we could play it as like a tap land, cycle land, or just a small splash. Forsake the Worldly. It's a little bit expensive for its effect, but obviously you have the cycling to compensate. I think I'm going to take the Farmland. Here I could take another dual land. Outpost Siege is a really nice card advantage card if you just use the, I guess it's the cons mode. Valorous Stance is a decent removal spell. Also has a little utility if you want to protect your own creatures. Out of these, I think I'm going to take the Temple, just try to get a little bit more fixing. Looks like we're really nowhere near any of these, so maybe take Silent Departure, which I don't think is particularly good, but decent enough. Blasphemous Act is a really expensive card if we aren't playing any of our own creatures, but it's more for like combo potential. Maybe I'll take this Skulker as like a kind of a roadblock creature. Wildfire is a sweeper, but it also makes us sacrifice lands, so it's kind of a non-starter. Take more fixing. I could take a note on this Drakehaven. I do think Body Double's the better pick there, but it's possible we get Drakehaven to work. I did see quite a few cyclers in that last pack. Alright, so here... So I think... I feel like we have to play... Again, this Skulker could be like a roadblock type creature. I think that's fine, but Sky Sovereign feels like a card that we have to dedicatedly play creatures to make work because of the crew costs. And similarly, Siege Gang. I mean, it could also be like a roadblock creature, but I feel like it's kind of in this pile right now. So then, this is what our deck would look like. So, do we need another finisher? Torrential Gearhulk would be good. Censor. Man, this is a tough pick. Snapcaster Mage, I also assume we'll eventually get instants for. I think I'm going to take Sensor and then hope that either Gearhulk or Snapcaster wheels. Blue's a pretty sought after color, so that might be a little bit ambitious, but that's what I'm going to try. Let's do 3 damage to target creature, clash if you win. So it's like a... Okay, deals 3 damage to a creature, and if you win the clash, it's a Searing Blaze. That's not really what I want. Seeing Mana Leak here now, I kind of wish I took Snapcaster or Gearhulk, but I might still take the Mana Leak. This is a fine removal spell, but not sure which is more important, a counterspell or removal spell. Also, Nimble Obstructionist seems pretty good, being able to, like, you know, if a Planeswalker slips through the cracks, you can use that to, like, snipe their ultimate or what have you. Also another dual land, but we don't have any fetchable duels to get with it. I guess Irrigated Farmland. Here I'm going to take the Mana Leak. Just get really solid on our early interaction. Here... Bribery's interesting. I think now that we have Censor and Mana Leak, we don't need Negate. So I probably want Path to Exile. It's almost certainly got to be better than Journey to Nowhere, although its Journey's vulnerable against enchantment removal, but is a little bit better to cast in the late game. So I think Path to Exile is the more unreplaceable effect here. I think that's the one I want to take. And similarly, there's a lot of fixing going around. I'm hoping to wheel at least some of this fixing. I think here I also just want to get really squared away with my removal and take that Condemn. Anticipate looks pretty good to me. And I think with Wrath and Bonfire we can pass on Pyroclasm and start to try to take some of this fixing. I do really like Glenalendra Archmage, but I want to make sure I get, again, a little bit of this fixing that's going around. A little Flame Javelin with Savannah Lion's Art. So Baneslayer is a potential win condition type of card, but it's a little bit vulnerable to just, you know, any of the removal spells. So Forked Bolt's a consideration. I don't have a disenchant effect yet, so I think I'm actually going to take Wear Tear for the sideboard, and depending on how many playables we get, this might have to go main deck. More mana fixing's good. Okay, this was our first pack, if I recall. And we didn't wheel the Snapcaster or the Gearhulk, but I guess we get an Oust for our troubles, and that's not too bad. We do have a decent mana base going here as well. Okay, so now Nimble Obstructionist or Compulsive Research, we don't really have any raw card draw, and so Compulsive Research would be pretty nice in that sense. But I kind of like the utility that we could get with this Nimble Obstructionist, so I think I'm going to try that. Pretty sure more mana fixing has to be better than Ralzeric. Ralzeric's a little bit of an underwhelming planeswalker. Usually it just kills something and then dies. But if it does live, it's fine. And it's like the ultimate only just gives you a little bit of time. It doesn't really win the game, so I guess I'd rather take that. Here, Zermage is probably the better sideboard option. And I guess Perilous Mirror's card we could conceivably sideboard. And similar with Una, it's pretty mana intensive, but we can make it work. And Bloodwater Entity also a possible sideboard. So let's see, these are cards I don't think we'll play, and these are potential sideboard options. Alright. So mana fixing is looking good, so I think we can pass on Darkar Wastes. As far as a finisher, we have our choice between either of these two Titans and Entreat the Angels. We don't have any kind of like scrying sort of cantrips, so setting up a Miracle Entreat would be a little bit difficult, and it gets pretty expensive if you're just hard casting it. I assume since like Pondered, Preordain are banned in Modern that they're not in this cube, and we don't have like a Serum Visions or anything like that. You know, cards like Brainstorm are in the Modern format. So then probably Frost Titan is the better option. It's like a pacifism. Batterskull is a possibility, but I think there's enough kind of decent disenchant effects that I don't want that. Okay, now Chandra is another possibility. It's probably better than Dungeon Geists, and Enclave Cryptologist is a kind of a slow, mana-intensive merfolk looter. You can also only level up on as a sorcery, so that makes it a little bit worse. Do we have any, as far as fetchable planes, that's all we have, so it's not a really good duel for us. Yeah, I think I'll take the Chandra. The double red could be, well, I guess we have Cascade Bluffs and other things, it might be fine. Gideon's an interesting card. It's probably better than Clever Impersonator, so I'll take that. Okay, Collective Defiance. Can deal 4 damage to a creature. Okay, what do we have for fetchable? Mountains? None. Dissipate would be fine. Oh, did that art just like literally change? That's crazy. Could take Arc Trail. I think Dissipate's probably a little bit better. We just want a hard counter. Ooh, the bigger Chandra. Now that might be a little bit more castable if we're worried about getting dull red. So that would be far later in the curve. Prismatic Lens also seems really nice to me. This can add a colorless mana as like a ramp, or it can fix and make any color. That might be the pick here. I think we do have a lot of nice late game, so getting this Chandra isn't a necessity for us. I don't remember what this card does. Yeah, and at this point, looking to like splash doesn't seem great. I'd rather have this lens first and then worry about potential splash. Alright, so here are some options. We don't have the creatures to crew a Heart of Kieran, really. Though you can crew a heart with Planeswalker Loyalty, which we do have. It's like 4 Planeswalkers that we'll probably play. I don't think we'll actually play enough mountains, like actual mountains, to use Chain to the Rocks. So I think Quarantine Field is our best option here. Nice removal spell. Nothing we can get with the Trophy Mage. Again, don't really have the creatures for equipment. We already have a disenchant effect, so I think it's a question whether we want a little bit more removal or if we want some fixing. I think I'll take the fixing, although we're getting a little bit close to where I'd want more playables rather than fixing. Might have to squeeze some of this stuff into the deck. Although our mana base actually looks really good. This is like a reasonable kind of, again, sort of roadblock creature like this Chasm Skulker. Might take it. Probably just, again, focus on mana. Now the mana might be good enough that I could cast like a Sweltering Suns. Like, take this Temporal Isolation, which is like a kind of a pacifism effect. Into the Royal would also be fine. Maybe a Conditional Sweeper is just not very good. Rather have spot removal, but take the sweeper. Take Dungeon Geist. What does this one do? 2 damage to target creature. Or it's a really expensive red unsummon. And this is a league, so like hate drafting boom bust isn't really a thing. Take that, but I don't think I'm gonna play it. Yeah, like this is a way better effect for the same sort of thing. Similarly, Collective Defiance is a pretty nice effect. I think I have enough answers to smaller creatures. I'd rather take this, and sometimes I can, Wheel of Fortune, and my hand doesn't look very good. This is a pretty good sideboard card. Doesn't really matter. And again, I didn't. Does Jinx Choker do? That's like the only card I could get with it. I don't think that card's good. I don't even know what it does, really. It's like a kind of a weird sulfuric vortex type of effect. Okay, so let me move my lands out so I can take a look here. So I would like to get a little bit more artifact mana. I didn't see any signets, so I'm assuming that they're just not in the cube, although they are pretty high picks if they're in here. So win conditions, we have, I guess, our Planeswalkers. Do I want to play a Dungeon Geist? Probably fine thing to play. So these are all kind of win conditions. So then I can play either like a Azure Mage, which is, again, sort of a roadblock creature, but if you play it on 6 mana, it can kind of be a value creature. Or I guess if you play it early and then get on tap with it, that's pretty unlikely since we aren't going to be presenting a lot of targets to our opponent. Silent Departure is kind of a tempo negative card, and we don't really have any card draw, I guess, really at all. Like, I guess Chandra can kind of draw cards and could maybe get some value out of like Electrolyzer and Nimble Obstructionist. But other than that, we don't really have any like actual like divination opportunity type card draw spells. Maybe that's a reason to want a Azure Mage, I don't know. And I don't think we got there on Drakehaven, right? Nimble Obstructionist, Censor. Ooh, Collective Defiance, I guess, if I have a bunch of cards in hand and a bunch of mana. But that doesn't seem great or very reasonable. So maybe Silent Departure is just like a nice card to play, even though it's a little bit, of a medium card. Just play like 17 lands. It's fine with Anticipate, Censor, a couple of 3-drop things that can cycle. Let's see what Moto suggests for basics. Okay, so we definitely, want a basic of each color because of Evolving Wilds. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red sources, 7, and then we'll have 8 with 1 mountain. Just gonna, I guess, add these manually, double check Moto's work. So we have 8 red sources. Blue sources will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then white sources will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. What? That doesn't. How does that make sense? It suggested 2 earlier. And so I don't know. I think this is. Let's add that. And then how many? So we have 3 more lands, so we could add. Let's look at our mana requirements really quickly. So looks like blue and white are pretty necessarily in the early game, so maybe 2 more islands and 1 plains, and then double red. The thing is, if we get Cascade Bluffs, then we're pretty good on red, but if not, then we need 2 more red sources. I think I'm going to add 2 islands and plains. Oh wait, what? Can't save the deck yet. Okay, there. So we have a deck. I think that looks fine. I guess if we really need to cast like a Sweltering Suns or a Collective Defiance in the early game, this might not work out the best, but let's see. Well, I don't know exactly how I feel. I guess I'd have to really understand this cube format to have a good gauge of how my deck is, but it seems pretty decent. Again, Planeswalkers are kind of one of the more powerful card types. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Planeswalkers, and so I think that means that we're doing something right. Alright. Yeah, this looks fine. So we have at least 1 of each color, and then, oh, I kind of forgot Prismatic Lens when I was doing the mana base, but this is a good card for when we need multiple of a color. Don't really know what the opponent's playing, but I think I'm going to play my Scryland now, and Anticipate is probably a fine card to keep on top. That kind of allows us to delay a little bit of our decision with the Scry, since we can choose a card with the Anticipate. Alright, so what do we have here? Ooh, Dark Confidant is going to get the opponent a little bit of value. I think I want to play out this Prismatic Lens. So this will hopefully ramp us a little bit. And then if that Dark Confidant is really out of control, we can just Quarantine Field it. Okay, so opponent has a Jund strategy. Reveal the Stomping Ground. I guess we could just play Gideon next turn. Also is not bad, but letting the opponent draw cards with Dark Confidant is a little bit annoying. So what are they playing here? Chromatic Lantern. This is probably some... Ooh, that's a nice draw. Alright. So we'll add a red, and then we'll just cast the Sweltering Suns, deal with the Dark Confidant, so then we can save this Quarantine Field for a little bit larger of an amount. So maybe next turn play Gideon, and then be able to maybe Quarantine Field for X equals 2. Tireless Tracker plus a land. Okay, so opponent's doing the Jund value game pretty well. Oh, interesting. I would have definitely taken damage there so I could crack my clue, but it looks like they have a 1-mana play. That's a little annoying since I had the Sweltering Suns, and this would have just cleared everything. So I'm going to keep up Mana Leak and try to anticipate into an untapped land so that I can Quarantine Field for X equals 2, which requires 6 mana. So that's fine. Oh yeah, this is a Mana Leak target if I ever saw one. And no land, that's really good for us. Alright, so anticipate. And... Right, 1, 2, 3, 6. So yeah, take that. If we draw an untapped land, it's like maybe a little bit disappointing, but otherwise I think we'll be happy we did this. And then I think taking out the Chromatic Lantern is a bit more priority than getting their clue token. So that one and that one, especially since they didn't play a land, and they're clearly like a 4 or 5 color deck. I guess we've seen everything but blue out of them. Oath of Nissa. So they might have a ton of planeswalkers. Okay, a Hunt Master. Opponent's having a little bit of trouble with these filter lands. They're a little bit annoying to use on Magic Online. So I would tap the bird for red, tap that for red, tap that for black, then use the black to make mana with Twilight Mire, or to make green with Twilight Mire. I don't know why they're so challenging, but they are really annoying to use. Okay, so if I Chandra downtick, then yeah, then my dice the wolf. Gideon making a knight isn't great here, so I think I'm just gonna Dungeon Geists and Probably use this on the Huntmaster. I haven't presented them a target for removal yet, so they'll probably use removal on the Dungeon Geists. But that's probably okay, so then if we end up in a situation where I play Gideon and then make the knight, then they don't kill the knight and hit the Gideon. Or if I draw a land, I could play Gideon, make a knight, and then leave up Nimble Obstructionist as a ambush. Whoa, I've never seen this art on a Spellskite. That's pretty sick art. Wonder if this is just Magic Online or if that's present somewhere else. Well, they don't have removal. And looks like this Dungeon Geist is going to hold things back. So, make a knight, and then if this Gideon survives, I'm going to hold this Censor since they might like crack the Mind Stone, crack the Clue, or do some of that and run a little bit low on mana on their turn. So it's possible Censor could get something. If we make it to their end step without having a Censor target, then I'll cycle it, but I'll keep it now. Ooh, Phyrexian Revoker. It's annoying, but that'll live. Real annoying thing is that even if I play Chandra and try to kill the Phyrexian Revoker, they'll just redirect to the Spellskite. Note they have a Birds of Paradise up, so Censor not doing much here. So go ahead and cycle that. Okay, Condemn. And a Johnny Vengeance. I'm going to Chandra and I guess try to kill the Revoker. They will almost certainly redirect to the Spellskite, but then that takes care of the Spellskite. Ooh, they didn't. Well, they didn't redirect, so then that unlocks my Gideon and I'll make another knight. And we have Condemn up, so if they try to start pressuring us, we can use a Condemn to defend. Alright, so I'm feeling pretty good. 2 Planeswalkers on the board. A couple blockers to defend them. Removal spell in hand. Though the opponent's not cracking their Mind Stone or their Hedron Archive, so they might have something big and ridiculous. This is like, okay, Runescarred Demon, sure. So they're getting to Demonic Tutor for a card out of their deck. Now I kind of hope to draw some sort of counter spell. Though I think the only hard counter in our deck is Dissipate. What I might do is use the Chandra's plus mana ability, cast a Johnny Vengeance, ooh, Elspeth. That's pretty nice. could they have that they would tutor for? Okay, so this could make 2 mana, and then I have 6 mana. Let's see. I think I want to make mana and then play Johnny Vengeant. And I think I will keep tapped the Hedron Archive, since that makes the most mana for them. Also, if they got a Planeswalker, the Oath of Nissa would be able to like color fix with this mana. Okay, so they're gonna redirect to Spellskite. I missed that earlier with the Phyrexian Revoker. Make another Knight. And then pass to them. So we have Condemn up, so we could get rid of this Rune-Scarred Demon. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they could have, I guess, something really huge like an Ulamog. It's a nasty thing with a triggered ability. I can always use this Nimble Obstructionist. So this puts the Rune-Scarred Demon on the bottom. Wonder what they tutored for. So probably cast that now. Oh man, is it Eldrazi? Tapping a lot of mana. Ooh, Nicol Bolas. That'll be okay, but only because I have this Nimble Obstructionist. And then I have a flyer to check it, and they tap their Birds of Paradise. They didn't really have to tap their Birds of Paradise because they have a Hedron Archive here. So they're gonna deal 7, so they're gonna try to take out one of my Planeswalkers. I'm gonna use Nimble Obstructionist. There's probably some sort of way that... Maybe there's not. I was going to say, maybe there's probably some sort of way they could go to change that to the Spellskite, but I don't think there is, actually. So now we have 3 in the air with a flyer. They have something here. Coalition Relic. Nope, so Nimble Obstructionist stifling the Nicol Bolas ability is going to let us get in with this Dungeon Geist to kill it. So I assume with the Rune-Scarred Demon must have tutored up this Nicol Bolas. And then of note, they shuffled with the Wooded Foothills, so when we condemn that Rune-Scarred Demon to the bottom, now it's shuffled back in and they can draw it again. So again, I think tapping the Hedron Archive, since that's a way for them to draw cards, is a good idea. Charge Coalition Relic. Are they going to redirect now? Sure, that's fine. And then we will make a guy plus Chandra to make mana. And then I think we'll play Elspeth. I wonder they have a sweeper. I guess if they don't have a sweeper, next turn we just Elspeth, and then we can make a Gideon emblem, so it's not a huge deal. Like, this gives them one turn where a sweeper would be really insane for them, but even still, like, what sweeper... the only sweeper I can think of that would handle this board is, like, Hour of Devastation, which I'm not sure is in the cube. It probably is, since it looks like there's a lot of new additions. That's the only thing I can think of. It looks like they're casting something. Or no, they're cashing in the cards. Yeah, so here they'd basically need Hour of Devastation, I guess. Smuggler's Copter. Yeah, so I think I emblem the Gideon and then just keep plussing Elspeth. That seems like a path to victory to me. Yeah, let's emblem. So make soldiers. Can you imagine if Elspeth just made a bunch of 2/2 soldiers? That'd be insane. Play that. I think attack with all. Maybe we keep Dungeon Geist back because they have a flyer with the Smuggler's Copter. Okay, opponents had enough. So maybe they just don't have any things in their deck that can deal with this. Felt like a pretty nice game for us. Okay, so Sweltering Sun seemed good. Collective Defiance, they had some things we could target with Electrolyze. Looked like they didn't have a lot of removal, so Dungeon Geist was fine that game. What would I want to bring in here? I mean, maybe the Wear Tear. Their mana looked a little bit cumbersome. They had some mana rocks that seemed pretty important, so maybe the Wear Tear would be good. And also, if they have some sort of Oblivion Ring type effect, they'll almost certainly bring that in after seeing all of our Planeswalkers. What would I want to cut for this? Maybe Sensor could be a little bit weak. Chasm Skulker also didn't seem like it would be that insane. Maybe I'll cut that. Submit the deck. Okay. This seems reasonable to me. So kind of leaning on these spells until we can get double white. Might as well get the tap land out of the way, even if what we want off the scry, definitely want another white source. Keep that. So hopefully our Electrolyze will, our opponent's draw works out so that our Electrolyze can kind of keep the board clear, and then we can just curve out with Planeswalkers. I guess just like we did last game. So always kind of play tapped based on what we have in our hand now, so play it. Yeah, so if we're able to like Electrolyze this Pilgrim and maybe something else, or whatever they play off the Pilgrim, if it's like a Huntmaster would be, I guess, a little annoying. We could kill the Huntmaster itself and draw a card, so... yeah, not fool around with the Huntmaster and kill it. So it looks like this game actually might line up a lot like the prior game. So use Dungeon Geist to tap down a threat, play Gideon, make a blocker, play Chandra, and then just try to ride the value of the Planeswalkers as far as it'll take us. Okay, opponent has a Chandra. See, this Chandra, it's the kind of card drawing ability, kind of comparable to this Chandra. So our Chandra is a +1 and this one is 0. Kind of the difference here is that you can play lands, whereas this is cast spells. So you aren't able to take advantage of land drops. So I think here I'm going to play Dungeon Geist and tap down the mana creature. Just to kind of pinch them on mana a little bit. And then if they want to force through damage, the +1 of Chandra will prevent the Dungeon Geist from blocking the wolf, but if they want to draw some cards, I have to use a different mode. Ooh, Sky Sovereign. That's pretty good for them. Makes me glad I brought in that Wear Tear, that's for certain. What's the ultimate on this Chandra? I might be able to Nimble Obstructionist the ultimate here. Ooh, yes, I'd like to Miracle of Bonfire. This is for enough to matter. Kills their board, and then I definitely gonna redirect to Chandra. I don't know if it makes a difference which land I play. Probably will play the Evolving Wilds. In case we continue to draw lands, then cycling the Irrigating Farmland would be useful. Okay, Lantern. Dark Confidant. So I have all the red sources I need, really. Don't really have any blue intensive cards, so I might as well just get another white so I don't have to ping myself on the Battlefield Forge. Okay, so I can escalate this to kill the Dark Confidant and to check the Chandra. I think that seems good to me. I wonder if the last card in their hand is good. I might want to make them discard it, but... Well, we know it's not a land, right? It is probably a good card. So it'd be... I'm gonna... This is just a hunch here. I have no idea if this is correct or not, but I'm gonna make them discard their card and draw a card, because I feel like whatever they have is probably something pretty good. I may be completely wrong here. Okay, Heart of Kirin is I guess a reasonable card. Yes, redirect to Chandra. Just play out my land. I guess Heart with the Planeswalker is always going to be a little annoying. They didn't have any creatures to crew it, but they could get some at some point. Man, I feel like I would want to be just drawing cards with this Chandra here. They keep pinging me. Ooh, that's a good card. I guess if you know you're going to cast a Sorin, then very clearly you So whatever I play, Sorin's going to kill. I think I'm going to play this Gideon, so that'll -3 the Sorin more than likely. But this will also put a 2/2 into play that'll potentially pressure the other ones with the Chandra, or I guess Sorin too. I don't have a lot of creatures, and I'm piling up a little bit of creature removal in my hand. Also, a little curious you would fetch when you just have a Chromatic Lantern. I guess the 1 life is worth removing the card from your library. There's a lot of permanents going on here. Okay, finds Tireless Tracker, so it makes me happy that I do have removal now. Do they have the land? If they don't have a land, that means they have a spell. Oh yeah, they have Sky Sovereign. Creature's really good for them. I should pass that before it kills my Gideon. Okay, so Sorin likely finishes off the Gideon. I can oust the Tireless Tracker. That doesn't do very much because they can just zero the Chandra after, or I guess crack the clue, and they'll get it back really quickly. I guess also Sorin draws cards essentially too. So I think here that Sorin is the more dangerous one. Okay, crack a clue. I also like that they crack the clue because when I oust the tracker, it'll be a little bit farther in. Let me just make sure that I do want to oust the tracker. No, I should Chandra the tracker and then leave up Nimble Obstructionist. Or I could just exile the top card. And if the top card, well, I mean, whatever it is, I can, yeah, I'll exile the top card. And I don't want to cast that, I want to redirect damage to Sorin. Alright, so I could oust the tracker, or I could just nimble obstructionist. They don't have a land. I could nimble obstructionist to like ambush the tireless tracker, but that seems kind of bad if they do have a land. Yeah, I'll just oust it, and then presumably they'll use the Chandra to get it this turn, and then I can just use my Chandra to take care of it. Granted, they have a lot of mana, a few different cards in hand, so they might have plenty of extra plays. But it looks like they're going to get the Tireless Trackers, so maybe they have a couple lands in hand and they want to turn those into clue value. Probably here just see one clue cracked right away. See if they can find some more stuff to do. Or nope, looks like they're going to play something. Play a copter, sure. Now crack the clue, or do they have another card to play? Coalition Relic, sure. Now they can tap the Mana Rocks and crack the clue. Opponent's got a huge board going on. Kind of wish Moto was a little bit smarter with the way that it managed permanents. Alright. So, -3 to kill that. And I'll attack the Chandra. And if they go to crew here, which they probably will, I am going to obstruct them. Okay, so this will get in some damage on the Chandra. Sorry, my mic. So they drew a card. Ooh, only a Birds of Paradise. So I guess that's a chump blocker of Paradise if they're gonna keep their Chandra around, so that's not even that bad for them. Mind Stone, sure. We'll crack the Mind Stone. They might even find okay, another land. It's something huge I can censor. I think I just want to cycle this. Do I want to cycle the censor too? Not. Okay, that's a nice one. So now whenever they go to crew a Smuggler's Copter, let's first flush the Chandra. It's a land, we just kill their Chandra, and if it's a spell, we can decide what we want to do. No thank you, I don't want that. Yes, redirect. Awesome. Okay, play out the land. Attack. Okay, so we have Wear Tear for their Copter. They have the mana to cast pretty much any spell, so I don't see the point in like upkeep, blowing up Oath of Nissa and the Smuggler's Copter, but I'll probably fuse it whenever I do cast it. So let's fuse, take care of Copter and Oath of Nissa. That. I think that's pretty dead right now. Quarantine Field's a nice draw, so now if they get a Planeswalker, see what Chandra yields. Yes, please. Cast that. White mana. And let's keep their Coalition Relic so we can be nice to them and they don't have to keep remembering to charge it. Okay, then elves. Anything particularly good? Do we want to? I think since we don't have a spell, we'll just exile, then we'll scry. Okay, can cast Condemn. Ooh, Elspeth, Sun's Champion. Definitely want that. And we'll keep the Llanowar Elves tapped down so they don't get a attack of opportunity on Chandra. And I think once we cast Elspeth, this will be pretty good for us. Okay, Phyrexian Arena is like, well, they're probably not going to live long enough to make it very worthwhile for them. I could minus the Chandra to prevent a chump block, but it doesn't actually kill them. So I guess I'll... Oh yeah, I can always change whatever I Frost Titan down. So sure, let's exile the top card. It's just a land. The only card I can think of is Hour of Devastation, and Chandra's will be at 6, so even if they have that, should be fine. They'll probably die. They would essentially die to their Phyrexian Arena in the following turn anyway, so it doesn't really matter if they were to top deck Hour of Devastation because they're blocked by their Phyrexian Arena. So they would need like something that deals with their Phyrexian Arena. Oh wow, I didn't. Well, that is that is a card that gets them out of this. That isn't Hour of Devastation. Maybe that's a reason to hold back the Elspeth? Yep. Okay, Noble Hierarch. We are running out of threats, though, so that's an issue. I'm going to keep this island in hand, because they could have some sort of discard type spell that I would want to save up for. Spellskite's annoying because a Johnny Vengeant was like my best out at this point. So I guess I can just Quarantine Field then. I'll pass one more turn because if they draw a creature threat, we can wrath it away. Hedron Archive. Okay. Sure. So we know that they have their large demon, and they also have Nicol Bolas. So I'm going to again pass not playing at the lands, because if they play Nicol Bolas, they're very likely to use the Mind Rot mode on Nicol Bolas. I still have enough mana where I could go Wrath of God and then Quarantine Field. This is only minus on a creature. Okay, again, pass because the reasons I said earlier. So are the last two cards in their deck the Nicol Bolas and the Demon, or maybe they sideboarded a little bit. This turn we do have to use the quarantine field. I guess we're dead to the Nicol Bolas anyways, aren't we? I think this works so that they can't like Spellskite redirect because Spellskite already is a target. And I guess now, since we're at 6, Nicol Bolas would just deal us 7. Oh, okay. Well, at least that resets. That resets the Chandra, so we aren't dead. Right? We didn't see that Demon or Nicol Bolas. Maybe they changed their sideboard configuration. Phyrexian Revoker. Okay. Abzan Ascendancy. It's just me. Well, I guess we fire off this here Wrath of God and hope that our opponent's last card is not Nicol Bolas and that they will deck. Since we didn't see the Bolas already and we haven't seen the Demon, it could very well be that they changed their configuration. This is this is a Nicol Bolas and we're gonna die to it. Wow, last card in their deck kills us. Nicol Bolas. That's pretty fun. Yeah, so I went wrong with the playing that Elspeth, and then they had an Oblivion Stone that basically cost me this game. But again, I'm not really familiar with the cards in this cube, so it's something that can happen if you just kind of walk into an environment blind and you don't think about everything. Oh, that was only game 2. Do we want our Sky Sovereign just as like a deal 3 to a Planeswalker? And probably not. I didn't realize we have a lot of similar cards. Who else have Huntmaster? Granted, we aren't going to play it. Well, maybe we'll win on time. I think we're ahead. I guess I don't know that for certain. Okay, we are ahead, so as long as we play the clock correctly, which sometimes is a kind of scummy thing, but this game probably isn't going to be far long enough that we'll like be in a situation where our opponent's a clear victor and we're just being scummy to them on the clock. Ooh, Sensor. That's a nice draw. Plus, I always feel good when I'm the one ahead on the clock and I'm recording because I have to, talk a little bit more and think about my lines a little bit. Ooh, censoring this. Oh man, savor the censor. Where was I going with this? Oh, whenever I'm recording, I always feel a little bit slower, so it always feels nice to be ahead on the clock when I'm recording. Okay, sure. don't think it's worth using either of these cycling spells. I do really want to hit a land, but... Oh, no, stop! Ah! F6'd a little too quickly there. Let's see if we hit a land. Well, we would have... I guess Bonfire isn't particularly good in that situation, even though we would have miracled it. Okay, so Johnny, keep the Hedron Archive tapped. They F6 through their turn. Oh, they might just be in that kind of really F6 sort of type of thinking. Sure. Or maybe they just didn't have... Well, they can't be color screwed because they have a chromatic lantern. Sure, Johnny. Just probably Bonfire for one. It's like one of the few good plays that a Bonfire can make at this point in the game. Actually, Bonfire for one would have been pretty insane on a lot of their plays up to this point. Okay. Yeah, so Bonfire for one is probably the, well, or it could just Wrath of God. I kind of like Bonfire for one and then use Spellskite to, or excuse me, use a Johnny to clean up the Spellskite. That uses our cards, I think, the most effectively. Okay, and they're only drawing cards, so presumably they're a little bit out of gas here. And hopefully we'll be able to keep our Johnny around. Oh wow, they didn't even have a land. So I can Sweltering Suns, Chandra minus. So I think plussing on a land and Chandra minus seems like the best course of action here. They probably have something a little bit expensive in their hand. Do 4 to that. This gets me 2 Planeswalkers on board, which is always a good place to be. What is this? Also still doing well on time. Okay, Sky Sovereign's a little annoying that it kills our Chandra, but they don't have anything to crew it with right now. Kindly tap down their really cumbersome land. And I think I want to go with Frost Titan here. So if they have targeted removal, also this will allow me to check the Sky Sovereign. And if they don't have anything, then this is a pretty quick clock also, which is a nice feature. Okay, more mana. So I'll keep Sky Sovereign tapped with the Johnny. Sure, tap, whatever. Copter, not a huge deal here. I think I'll cycle the Sweltering Suns. Keep that tapped. Frost Titan, keep Sky Sovereign tapped. You can have Wear Tear to check the Smuggler's Copter. Nimble Obstructions can check a Planeswalker. Mana Leak can check a really expensive spell or combinations of spells. And we have the Ajani on board for the Lightning Helix win, even if they have something for the Frost Titan. That was a nice match. Yeah, that second game, I shouldn't have cast the Elspeth. I mean, even a spot removal spell, because I had Frost Titan in play, would have really taxed their mana and made it pretty unlikely that they could get out of it. But I was able to recover in the game 3. So thank you for watching this match, Stratters. Stay tuned for the rest of the Modern Cube League. Hello, Stratters. Welcome to match 2 of our Modern Cube League. This looks like a nice hand, especially on the play. So we'll play Temple of Triumph. Turn 1, turn 2, follow up with Island, keep up Censor. Just kind of want to find a 4th land for this Ajani. I think we have enough removal with the Path and the Quarantine Field that we should be able to pass on that Sweltering Suns. Okay, so opponent's not doing much. First, second, maybe mono red, but they didn't like bolt us end of turn or something like that, so still not entirely sure what to think. Okay. Well, I would rather have my lands since I don't have many of them, even though using Boom Bust in this way, presumably they're more of like a low curve aggressive deck, and so it's kind of fine, but when you're casting targeting one of your mana producing lands and one of your opponent's mana producing lands, then you're kind of 2-for-1ing yourself. But yeah, since I playing the kind of deck that I am, my opponent's playing the kind of deck that they are. I'd rather not. So I guess here I fire off the Silent Departure, try to hit a land drop. So I guess I'm glad I bottomed that Sweltering Suns, since I wouldn't have really had time to cast it, and I haven't found a land drop even still. Okay, so this seems like a nice time to make them soul bond, but then I'm gonna have to exile the Lightning Mauler. So then the Gorehouse Chainwalker will lose its haste since it's no longer soul bonded, and kind of important to make sure that we targeted the soul bond creature, not the creature that doesn't have soul bond there. Evolving Wilds is probably kind of the worst land we could draw, but it is a land, so I can't complain too much. Question here, how we want to fetch, if we want to fetch Plains to turn on Quarantine Field, or Island to turn on Dungeon Geists. You can already cast a Johnny or Chandra. You haven't given them an opportunity to use removal, so I kind of think Dungeon Geists isn't going to live, but at the same time firing off a Quarantine Field on a Gorehouse Chainwalker doesn't seem very good either. Oh yeah, let's Bonfire. So this isn't the best Bonfire, but I would rather clear the Scorehouse Chainwalker and then cast a Planeswalker on an empty board. And again, I'd rather not present them with removal for this Dungeon Geist, or if I do have to play out the Dungeon Geist into removal, I don't want them to have, all this untapped mana. Like if they tapped out to play like I don't know, some big dragon or something, it would be better to, I think Chandra's the better play onto an empty board here. But anyways, what I'm saying is because this is a tap and don't untap, if they play a creature, I can play the Dungeon Geist, tap it down, and then even though they're going to kill it, they have to kill it on their turn, so I get sort of Dungeon Geist is more like a enters the battlefield, tap a creature, doesn't untap versus essentially doing nothing. So I'm going to exile. Oh, not Elspeth. That's like... no. The saddest no ever. Obviously the card's random, but like you just should do it. It could be anything. It could be, a card that I wouldn't want to cast. But it feels bad to lose Elspeth, so we're kind of down a win condition. Granted, it's not a card we can cast. We don't have double white, and we don't have 6 mana, so I guess it's not too terrible to just get it off the deck and essentially have a free shock from our Chandra. So now what's Forked Bolt? I get a 2-for-1 burn spell on the Chandra. Looks like that might be what's happening. Well, if they do that, then Ajani is more likely to survive. Yeah, so it looks like that's exactly what they're doing. Just gonna kill the Chandra. Well, Chandra didn't do much, but it has cleared the way for Ajani, which is something. I think Ajani is the, or this particular Ajani is the one Planeswalker where if I could like mess with the numbers on their card, I would really like to do that. If I could just like turn the starting loyalty up to like a 4, or maybe like a 5, and then move this up to like an 8 or 9, and then maybe move this -2 to like a -3. I would really enjoy that. Okay, so here comes a big hasty dragon to kill my Ajani. So we are running pretty low on win conditions actually. We're down to not too much. So play this Prismatic Lens, and then this is the situation I was talking about with the Dungeon Geists, that now that they're tapped out, at least even if they kill this Dungeon Geist on their turn, the Thunder Maw hasn't untapped for a turn, so I've essentially saved a little bit of life because they were denied an attack. So, like earlier in the game, I could have Dungeon Geist, Gorehouse Chainwalker, and they could have burned it. I mean, potentially on my turn. Turns out like the cards they had were sorceries, so that wasn't really an option. But they could very well have an instant in their hand here. It looks like the opponent's just mono red, which is a strategy that I like a little bit more so in Legacy Cube than in this cube. I've never tried it in this cube, but it's a strategy I enjoy. Which is kind of weird since you, having watched my videos, realize that I'm very much a grindy mid-range control mage. I just like to accrue value and make the games go long and those kind of things, so it's probably a little out of character for me to like these aggressive red decks in Cube. Alright, well that... Okay, so this only pings players. I have to avoid, like, attack... Oh, excuse me. I'm kind of late here. Like, attack, cast a burn spell, tap Chandra, because then that deals a lot of damage. So I don't still have double white. So, like, how much? So, landing the Prismatic Omen makes a double white, so then I would only have 4 mana left, so it's not really enough to Quarantine Field, is it? So I guess I'll play my Temple, put that to the bottom. I might as well just Silent Departure. That was their best play, then stands to reason that next turn they'll probably do about the same thing. Have some sort of instant here. Okay, Braid. So then the following turn I'll probably hopefully cast a Quarantine Field for X equals 2. And then try to leverage this Nimble Obstructionist, I guess. Life total of 12 is pretty reasonable. I'm guessing that getting to 9 lands with the mono red deck isn't the best. I think I'll play out this land, and then that'll probably be the last land that I play. Then I'll start keeping them back to use the Wheel of Fortune mode on Collective Defiance. This I'm going to Nimble Obstructionist since these Thopters would be pretty annoying. Now I just have to deal with PN Kieran without Thopters. So I guess this is a reasonable thing to use the Nimble Obstructionist on. Oust not looking great here. So what am I drawing to? Well, now I kind of wish that I maybe hadn't used the Nimble Obstructionist, but they still would have thrown some Thopters at me, so maybe it's not a big deal. I think I'll hold off one turn on the Sweltering Suns and just see if they play out another creature. Going to 10 doesn't seem like a huge deal. Probably famous last words, but yeah, live a little dangerously, I guess. Yeah, Oust looks kind of unimpressive against PN Kieran Nalaar. So any creature with an enter the battlefield effect, Oust is not the best against. Wonder if like blue-white control in Modern, if I should ever try like playing Oust plus. Ooh, that's a good card. Oust plus Thought Scour. Like, I don't know. That seems. Wonder if that's going deep or not. Yeah, so now I really wish that I hadn't used the Nimble Obstructionist. So then I could have Sweltering Suns to away the PN Kieran Nalaar. What is this? Well, yeah, that happens. Main deck released the Gremlins too. I guess it's fine the way things have happened. Okay, so Sweltering Suns to get rid of those 2/2s, then I'll play Gideon and make a knight. I have to be a little bit careful of Shrine, both for my life total and for it taking out this Gideon. Because we are, again, the only... Chandra flipped our Elspeth, so the only win condition that I can think of in our deck is the Frost Titan. So I mean, if the opponent has 2 red spells in hand here, then they might just cash in Shrine to kill Gideon. Which I think is a reasonable play to do. Gideon is a house. For any of you who haven't played Standard in the past 2 years, Gideon is a house. And it even sees play in, like, I've seen it, obviously I played it myself in Modern. Ooh, Dissipate is not bad. Well, the question here is if I want to plus the Gideon, or if I want to just make another knight. I think I'm going to plus the Gideon. The opponent might be trying to do something clever. Put minus counters on the Gideon using the Soulscar Mage. Shrine goes to 4, and then presumably they'll have a spell and it'll go to 5. I guess we also have a burn spell in our hand, right? Deal 3. That makes me Museum Mortars. Sure, I'd rather dissipate the spell that actually kills me, I think. So they might just throw... I have to counter this because this has, so this would be 2, 4, and then 6 with the shrine, so I have to counter this. So they'll probably, now that I've countered this, they might be inclined to throw shrine at the Gideon. If they don't, then I can just plus Gideon and use Collective Defiance to finish them off. They might see the shrine as being kind of their best chance to finish me off and not throw it at the Gideon. They might just check the Gideon with a Soulscar Mage and then save shrine, or maybe they keep the Soulscar Mage back to jump block. I don't know. There's, I guess, a lot of options here. Probably not going to cast Oust on any of my opponent's creatures. Where's this going? At me. So I wonder if they're going to attack me with Soulscar Mage and use Shrine on the Gideon, or if they're going to attack me and then try to keep the Shrine and peel the win. If they do that, then I'm just going to fire up Gideon and Collective Defiance them to death. Oh wait, did I miss this? Oh, I'm already... Oh, okay. Oh, for a second I thought I was at 8 and like hadn't taken the damage. I was like, whoa, what happened? Sure, so now I'm probably just gonna Collective Defiance, all 3 modes. Oh, cancel. So I want 3 modes. I discard my hand, 4 damage to that creature, damage to you, and then I might anticipate in response to this. Oh, I have control. What happened? Because anticipating would be way better than a random card. That's tilting. Yeah, I thought I had control. Oh, stop on the means. Oh, that's right, I can't. Well, I can't condemn that. I can, not this turn at least. Hopefully just draw Frost Titan. Frost Titan, nope. And I don't think I have any more looting effects, so I might as well play that out. Well, I don't really have much card draw either, so it's not like I'm playing out my land, so I can play my card draw and then Condemn not looking very good here against the Rabble Master. And I already have drawn my Bonfire, so that's not an out. I think the only thing I have left that actually can win a game is the Frost Titan. Or no, I still have that, like, what's that, jellyfish creature, or the squid thing? I have that too. I guess that is technically capable of winning a game. Although I'm pretty sure I'm lost now, so... Let's see, what would my anticipate would have... Okay, no, I'm actually dead. So my anticipate, if I actually were able to hold priority, I would have drawn Condemn, and I would have anticipated into 3 lands, and then... Electrolyze would have been really good against the Rabble Master. I mean, the way things turned out, it would have been nice if I were able to hold control and or hold priority and actually have cast that anticipate. But I mean, it also could have happened I guess that I mean, it's also possible that it could have worked out the other way too, I guess. So I don't really have life gain. I mean, if I wanted to splash green for this Hunt Master, but that seems like a bad idea. Siege gain could be okay, but I think my sweepers are all really nice. Wear Tear is probably a good idea for Shrine. What's my worst card? Maybe one of my... Probably this Dungeon Geist. I feel like this is just going to die most of the time. Perfect mana, perfect life. Okay. Highly doubt we'll need to cast Path this early, but you never know. Leak. It's a pretty nice draw. Might have a nice curve of interaction. Happily mana leak that. Very, very happily. So we can hopefully electrolyze, find another blue source to cast like a Dissipate, and then hopefully eventually another white source and some more lands so we can cast the Elspeth. Mana leaking the Shrine here is just really good. It's a little annoying since it's not a creature I can electrolyze. But, so did we see any other targets for Wear Tear, or was it just the Shrine? It's possible I wanted to path the Kari Zev, but like last turn, I maybe do actually want to path it now. Probably also could have condemned it and just waited. And Cycling Censor is a little bit tempting, but if the opponent doesn't have another land and they slam a Thunderball Hellkite, then Censor will be fine. And also, we want to keep the Electrolyze up, so if we censored and we 100% knew we were going to hit an untapped blue source, it would be probably worth it, but as is, I don't think that's what we want to do. It's just like, oh no, it's not a, it's a 4-drop, not a 5-drop. But I guess this is electrolyzable, so that's nice. Electrolyze trade 3 mana for 4 mana, and we draw a card. That's pretty good. Well, so now we have double white for when we eventually get to Elspeth. Really want to hopefully get double blue at some point here so we can cast this Dissipate. And if the opponent's not really jamming anything, then it's probably good idea to cycle this sensor. Okay, well, I'll play Gideon. It's possible they could have 4 damage worth of burn for this Gideon, but it seems pretty bad to put it up to 5 when they could also potentially have 5 damage worth of burn, so we'll make a Knight token. Okay, so Flame Javelin deals with the Gideon, but we have a Knight token left over, so that's not a terrible exchange. I wonder how high up the curve the opponent's going. If they just have like one Thundermaw Hellkite, or if they have some other stuff too. I like that we have Condemn and Path to Exile in this matchup in case. Which one did they? Sure. In case the opponent has Hazoret, that's pretty powerful and pretty difficult card to deal with. Okay, so now we have double blue, so we have Dissipate at the ready. One more land of any kind gets us Elspeth, and then we also have the option for Chandra if we can get another red land. Is this actually the correct art for Dissipate? Or am I... This looks like the art from a red card. If it is the art, then I've never seen this version before. But Magic Online sometimes messes up the art on cards, so it very well might not be. So I wonder if our opponent's like drafted mono red in a couple different queues, because they're way down on time compared to me. I didn't notice this massive discrepancy. I guess I have noticed that I've been kind of filling time with idle chit-chat with you all, but I didn't realize that it was to this extent where I'm playing the clearly more controlling deck and I'm ahead, 15 minutes to 7 minutes. Temple. So I don't think we want another land, although this would let us go Chandra, keep up Dissipate, and then the following turn we can use Chandra for mana to cast Elspeth and still keep up Dissipate, so I am actually going to keep that. Could be wrong, but I kind of like, the opponent seems to be just sitting on stuff. I don't know if they have a lot of burn that just targets creatures, although I think they would have taken that out. Cards like, we saw a Braid last game. Did they have any other cards like that? Oh god. This is why you need a hard counter. Leave the illusion up of another hard counter. Let's exile. Oh yeah, sure. Let's cast that, why not? Oh man, we could combo, plus this for mana, play Elspeth, and then collect a Defiance to wheel away the rest of our hand, get massive counters on the Chasm Skulker. So like, I guess this was a long time ago now, but when they banned Birthing Pod in Modern, I was pretty distraught by it, and I started trying to play Birthing Pod in other formats like Legacy. And so I had this like bug, uh, sure, bug Birthing Pod deck, and I had a Chasm Skulker as like one of my value 3-drops, because I mean it's Legacy, so you still have to play Brainstorm and Force of Will and try to make as many of your cards blue as possible. So like this was a nice value creature that you could have on your pod chain. But casting, when you have a Chasm Skulker and then you're brainstorming, it's a pretty sweet experience. And then if it gets to the point where you can't, I mean, they aren't going to kill your Chasm Skulker, you can always, cash it in with the pot and get your little island walking squids that way. So that was a kind of cool thing. How many win conditions do I have left? I have a Johnny and I have Titan and I guess the Clock. So play Elspeth, and then it's possible I condemn this Chandra's Phoenix. I think I only have one basic left in the deck, so that's, I guess, kind of my reason for playing the Evolving Wilds. It's also possible that I just want to save it in the hand for cashing it in with Collective Defiance, but yeah, I don't want Elspeth to die to a 3-point burn spell here. Oh, attacking me. Man, what is that even? I don't know. Maybe they think Elspeth is at too high of a loyalty. Oh, I had a few basics left. Let's take a blue mana. Doesn't really matter. First attack, plus Elspeth. So Elspeth should be able to close out the game from here. Elspeth's Sun's Champion is a really powerful planeswalker. Could wheel my hand, but I think I'd rather have the opportunity to use the 4 damage on a creature mode if I really have to. I think just using the wheel mode on this card is kind of poor. I usually want to be escalating it and using one of the other modes. Alright, give the opponent the GG's. And, okay, so 2-0 with this Jeskai Planeswalker Control-ish deck in Modern Cube. Thanks for watching, Stratters. We'll be back for... Okay, welcome back, Stratters. Here we are for the third and final match with our Jeskai mid-rangey control-ish, lots of planeswalkers deck. I went ahead and kept this hand. It has a lot of mana, but it has all our colors, has a little bit of ramp, and then we should be able to make this temple and this irrigated farmland do some work for us. So lead up against this temple, probably put any land to the bottom, pretty much any spell on top, I would imagine. I'll take some more removal. We don't necessarily need a threat until some of the later turns. I'll keep up this to kind of feign counter magic, but so the opponent might run out their worst spell. Pitiless Horde, this is cast, not dashed. So with that in mind, I think we'll just anticipate. And we have quite a bit of removal, so I think I'm going to actually take this Ajani Vengeance and put those on the bottom, and then cast Prismatic Lens here, and then probably cycle Farmland, and then prepare to next turn. I can't cast a Johnny Vengeant and Oust. I don't know. I guess to be decided. We might path. We might cycle Irrigated Farmland, since we don't have double white or double red plus plus white. We can't actually make the play of Planeswalker plus. Well, that's annoying, but at least our removal doesn't kill things, it exiles them. It's a nice way to offset the damage. No, cancel. Big one. Okay, so now we have what we were looking for in terms of mana. So red, white. No, we can't just downtick the Ajani, because then they'll whip back the Pitiless Horde. Just kill it, so that's kind of a non-starter. So I think Oust is the best bet here. Oh, I totally forgot to use my Ajani. I guess it didn't matter. I would have just tapped a land and then... Okay. So red, colorless, red, cast Chandra. Flipper top card. Okay, so now it's pretty tempting for them to dash the Tireless Horde, in which case we can censor it, because dashing is like an alternate casting cost. Oh, no. Cycle, right? Or is it an ability? Yeah, that's what I thought of it. It's an alternate casting cost. So they pay the dash cost, which is again an alternate casting cost. So that was one of the kind of confusing things, is dash a ability, or is it a cast? So can I counter a dashed card? And the answer is yes, that you can. So flip the top card. Well, would have rather miracled that, but I guess we'll cast it. It might have been better just to deal 2 damage there and to not tap out if our opponent somehow does. Oh yeah, I guess they guaranteed do have a card to whip back. I don't know. It's not that I want to path to exile a Pitiless Horde that just was whipped back with Whip of Erebos, but if we have the mana up, they're a little bit maybe less likely to do that. I'm not sure. Although our Chandra lives, so it's not the end of the world, but it might have been bad to just take like that 1 extra damage for essentially all her mana. Plus... crack this, get... painless white source. I think we have more red sources in the deck than white sources at this point. Sure, that's something we can kill with Electrolyze. Chasm Skulker's pretty medium. I think I want to play this first in case we hit like our Wheel of Fortune card. No, thank you. And I'll keep this land back again in case we have that Wheel of Fortune type card. I can't remember the name of it. Collective, is it Defiance? Or the only card in that cycle I know, and it's not even a complete cycle, is Collective Brutality. There's they're only in the Marduk colors, which I'm not sure exactly why that is, because there's one with Gideon on it, Collective Brutality, and then the red one that does this Wheel of Fortune thing. Wonder if they'll be able to use the 2 mana off the swamp from the Cryptghast. I guess they didn't last turn, so pretty unlikely. Nope, they do have something. I think I will let them check the Chandra. I would rather be able to actually get a little bit of value off this Chasm Skulker, which only happens when I've drawn a card. Yes, please. I guess I probably should have left up a white mana there, but I was too excited to cast Elspeth. No real good attacks to be had. I'm probably thinking, what else do I have to an Elspeth? Unless they have like a... I guess black has Hero's Downfall. They already cast this Never to Return. Black actually has cards that say destroy target planeswalker. There's a lot of decks that have a really hard time with Elspeth. Whip of Erebos is a card I miss from Standard. It's one that I played quite a bit back in like the mono black devotion days. Play a couple whips in that deck. I was also a big fan of I was a big fan of Reaper of the Wilds back then, so I would play Reaper of the Wilds in a lot of decks. I think that was more when RTR rotated out and Khans was in Standard with Theros. People would play like Abzan with Siege Rhino, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna play Heir of the Wilds. Probably the wrong choice, but it's what I did. think it's fine to just attack everybody at Liliana here. Plus Elspeth, plus Chandra. I guess if they block my Chasm Skulker and they have some sort of sweeper, could be kind of annoying, but I'll get some squids. What do we got? Yeah, I'd like Gideon. So many planeswalkers. So many planeswalkers. Getting an emblem next turn might be... Actually, let's just... Is it greedy to emblem now? Not sure. I don't want to, like... Yeah, we'll emblem now. I can't imagine what they would have that could deal with this much stuff. I'm actually going to play the land out now, since I would only wheel my hand probably if I got rid of Dissipate and Path to Exile. Opponent's seen enough. Okay. Sideboard for game 2. So based on what I've seen, Reds is CMC 2 or less. That's probably not great. CGing's like a possibility, but that seems really bad against the Liliana of the Lost Hope. Sky. Guess they did have a whip. So again, this is an option as far as what I would cut for it. Maybe Dungeon Geists. It's black deck, I assume they have a lot of spot removal. So kind of a medium card. Cut maybe like Silent Departure, or maybe like Censor on the draw, but I think this is the configuration I'll go with. Okay. Hopefully one more win and have a nice 3-0 on our hands. This is like the risky one-lander that I think I am willing to keep. I have a draw step. If I get in a bad way, I can cycle Censor, and then I just have a bunch of 2-drops that will, if I hit a second land, basically dig me out of it. Just got there so good. Probably want one more land. That's a good one. Okay. The Moto gods are with me today. Well, that card's not very annoying just yet. So leave up Censor this turn, and then next turn I can play Prismatic Lens and hold up Mana Leak or Anticipate. This card's going to do a little bit of work, but should make it through okay. Yeah, this is the card I thought of when I shaved the Dungeon Geists for the Wear Tear instead of Censor. Like, I want to Censor Liliana the Last Hope on their 3rd turn. That, and then leave up Mana Leak plus Anticipate, so if I can Mana Leak their play here, untap, cast Chandra, and deal with Asylum Visitor, that seems like a pretty good position to be in. If they don't have a play, I'm free to anticipate. Okay, they're cracking the fetch, so it looks like they do. I wonder if they have a splash color, if this is just... No, just fetch a swamp. It's like Obliterator? Yeah, it is Obliterator. Just tap swamps, tap 4 swamps that fast. I mean, it's gotta be Phyrexian Obliterator, right? Yeah, so I'll Chandra, kill Asylum Visitor. Just protect the Chandra. If they have a removal spell for Chandra, it's not the worst because I have Elspeth in hand. Yeah, that card's a little annoying just because it's hard to deal with, but I guess we have a Path to Exile, so even that's not terrible. I'm going to make mana, and then I'm going to main phase Anticipate, I think. Maybe an unusual play, but house or lands. Well, I do have a decent number of lands, I guess, given that I have Chandra to make mana, but I suppose if worse comes to worse and they have a removal spell for Chandra, I would probably rather have a land here. And then I'll just put my tap land into play. If I see a land here, I'll put it to the bottom. Anything else, any spell I'll probably take. It's probably fine. Could play something weird and I'd want it. And if not, it cycles, so it's... If I regret putting it on top, then it just is going to cost me 3 mana at some point. So Giraffe will certainly attack the Chandra, and then I'll just path it, which is a really good answer for Giraffe's Messenger. Packrat. Packrat's a card that kind of makes me a little nervous. I think nervous enough that I'm going to actually just cast Sweltering Suns here, which maybe that's a little bit too scared, but I don't know. Packrat's a scary card. If you didn't play Standard when Packrat was in Standard, Packrat was pretty good, and it's pretty good in like limited formats, even kind of somewhat more powerful ones like Cube. Ooh, Grave Titan. Well, I mean, I guess now I kind of wish that well, I can just Chandra. Oh, man, this is tough. So I can cast Elspeth minus Elspeth, and then... Actually, no. Probably my best bet is to cast Frost Titan. So I will make mana. Also, Standard passed. Frost Titan is the best Titan against other Titans. You just tap them down, which is what's going to happen here. So this will buy me some turns so I don't have to really worry about this. And then I can like get a block. Well, they might have a removal spell. If they have removal, this is a little bit annoying. But if they don't, then I guess even if they have removal, I go condemn on a zombie token, Chandra goes to 2, and then I can play Elspeth and downtick. Then I'll lose either Elspeth or Chandra. It's also, well, maybe they don't have removal. Maybe they're just going to get more devotion into play so they can tap Nykthos. Is this removal? Oh, they probably do have removal, but they probably read the Sun Titan, so it's probably a 3-mana removal spell. If that's the way that they're behaving. Yeah, block, and then I think it's okay for Chandra to take that damage. So I basically have to attack with this Frost Titan because I need it to continue tapping down the Grave Titan. So attacking is not optional for this Frost Titan. I feel like they have a 3-mana removal spell because of how like they tapped, and then maybe they thought of the Frost Titan's ability. That might just be me thinking a little bit too much. Cast Elspeth, make a bunch of tokens. And then I think I just want to play out this farmland. So I can condemn the Drana, block the zombies, and block the zombie. Grey Merchants. Okay, maybe they just miscounted then. Like they thought they had 5, but they only had. Grey Merchant's a good one. It's also good that they cast it before combat, at least from their perspective, because I'm going to condemn this Drana. And I also, if possible this game, I'm going to try to want to not kill the Grey Merchant. Because I don't want them to like whip back a Grey Merchant and then just be dead. So they're considering whether they want to attack with the zombie. Okay, so they are. Which makes sense because it looks like their Drana might get in. In which case their zombie will grow, but I know that I'm going to condemn their Drana. Oh, that's fine. I wonder why they do that, because if Drana connects, they get a counter on their zombie. I feel like it's kind of a waste on their part, because if everything goes alright, then Drana connects, this gets a counter. Attack. So right now they have 7 mana, so they can't like play whip and crack the whip right away. Again, I think that's probably the way that I lose this, is if the Grey Merchant dies and they have a whip. Okay, Crypt Gas means that they have 1,000,000,000 mana anyways, so now they don't need to draw the land, just the whip. I don't see why I really want to attack here. So this Frost Titan's been so good against this Grave Titan this game. I was kind of worried about it, and then things happened as they do, and the Frost Titan showed its supremacy over the Grave Titan. Nice. Okay, so we won that one 3-0 with our Jeskai control Planeswalker deck in a Modern Cube. That was nice. 150 play points. I think I only put 100 in, so that's a nice tidy 50% profit for me. Thank you all for watching, Stratters. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I probably do these. I guess I kind of like these Modern Cubes, and then I like Legacy Cube. Vintage Cube I'm not a big fan of, so if that one comes around again, probably won't see a video from me for that one. Just really kind of variable, and I never open any power, so I don't really like that one as much. But Legacy Cube and I guess this Modern Cube, I kind of enjoy these, so maybe I'll make some more videos with these if you all like them. If you you know, comment in the comment section below if you do, if you'd like to see some more. You know, I don't really do any forcing of archetypes or anything like that, so don't necessarily comment, oh, you should play mono red in this cube. I kind of always draft what I think is open, and just whatever happens, happens. But if you just like to see more Modern Cube in general, I'd certainly be happy to do that if you want that. So thank you for watching, Stratters.